like to invite Mr. John Hub. Thank you, sir, for the opportunity again to be with us. 6 months ago, John was in Miami Small Business Forum. Thank you again, Mr. John. Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. You still here?
Yes.
All right. Well, Doug, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, sir.
Maria, to be here again with you today. I brought a presentation more as a reference point, so I'm just going to kind of skip through it and just hit the highlights, and Doug has it so he can email it out to you guys. And feel free to do that. So there should be a couple of handouts you have as well related to DOE that are kind of making their way around the table. So again, thank you for the opportunity. I'll just go through this, present what I think is kind of the most important information. Cover a couple things. One, what is the U.S. Department of Energy? What do we do? What do we buy? Second, one of the best kept secrets in federal government contracting we'll talk about here as well. And then talk about from the OSBoost side of the desk, what we see and what I think you can do to set yourself apart from the competition. Because we get approached all the time to meet with businesses, and we just don't have the staff to do that all the time. So there's ways to kind of get to know us. DOE, like most federal agencies, it can be a large, bureaucratic, faceless organization. So we try to add a little bit of personality to it. So first things first, I'm John Hale, Director of the OSBoo office. And OSBoo is one of those government acronyms, but in this case, this may be one that's useful for you. And so we're the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization. All 24 CFO Act agencies, which means the 24, 25 largest federal agencies, have an OSBoo office that was established in roughly 1978. And so we are a statutorily designed office, so these agencies have one. And we are there to be your advocates. We are there to help you to understand how to navigate the various federal agencies, and most importantly, one, who are the people you need to help build a relationship with, and kind of why we're here. You guys started your business to make money, right? Do we have any kind of profits, or you guys are kind of maxed out on revenue, you don't want any more, kind of partially retired? All right, good. Right, so we're here to make money. So another thing is probably, okay, what are the opportunities coming up? But more importantly, what are the challenges, Department of Energy, you're facing, so I can actually get in front of those challenges and bring some of your solutions to the table. Because it's all about solving our challenges. So we're going to flip through this quickly. So the first thing is, what does the Department of Energy do? President Carter established us in about 1978. Our mission goes back to the Cold War. The Manhattan Project is the genesis of DOE, for quite all know about that history.
No. It's okay.
Oh, okay, all right, good. And so, nuclear security is about 45% of our budget. 45% of our budget is spent on maintaining civilian control of the nuclear weapons complex. God forbid the president needs to use them, the weapons need to be there and ready and able to use. So that's what we do with that aspect of the mission. Environmental management, and that's about a $12 billion a year budget. Environmental management, one of the legacies of winning the Cold War and the Second World War, you have uranium, plutonium, mercury, etc. The heretofore was kind of put in barrels and stored. Obviously, we live in communities. We don't look at our groundwater right and some other things. So the environmental management purpose of the mission is about $6 billion a year, is to clean up the environment. Some of those chemicals can't be permanently cleaned up, but they are stored. Make sure that they're safe and not getting into our groundwater. Scientific discovery, research and development. We maintain a system of 17 national laboratories that are focused on energy-related research and development. Everything from nuclear weapons controls to fuel cells, carbon fiber. Fracking years ago was a technology that was helped develop by DOE as well. We will show you a map in a minute once here is being passed out to you. Many of our universities around the country, we co-locate some of our research and development with some of these universities. And from a energy security standpoint, renewable energy, President Obama's put a significant focus on the United States winning the clean energy race. So millions of dollars of grants and R&D in the renewable energy space as well. And in terms of protecting our grids, so cybersecurity, those cybersecurity functions are a very important mission to the Department of Energy as well. We can move to the next.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, so the map you have here is just a handout. We literally buy everything from nuclear fuel to dog food. In the fiscal year 16 that just ended, our procurement spend was $26.4 billion. And so we do spend a lot of money. And so the map you have in front of you, you'll see the legends. The blue circles are the national laboratories, focused on research and development. And we have other large contractors as well. That, again, these are usually multi-billion-dollar contract awards that are focused on cleaning up sites around the country. You'll notice Washington State, Savannah River, which is in Aiken, South Carolina, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, etc. These are major locations and sites developed back during the Cold War, the Second World War, as we were developing, manufacturing, and making nuclear weapons. And so that's why they are located at those sites. So our 35 largest contractors of that $26 billion spend, our 35 largest contractors will spend in any given year 75 to 85% of those dollars. Why that's important for you then is we are primarily, or we spend more from a small business standpoint, on a subcontracting basis of you subcontracting to those organizations, and we spend the other in any given year, 15 to 20% are the private small business opportunities. So part of what I'm going to walk through is kind of how to engage the Department of Energy. Most of those national contractors and cleanup sites are M&O contractors, management and operating contractors. That's a public-private partnership that goes back to the genesis of DOE. The philosophy being that there would be public assets, so if you take Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, that laboratory is a joint venture between Battelle and the University of Tennessee. And so that's how that research and development. So that's a separate LLC. So just note that when you're doing business with our large management operating contractors, you do not have a contract with the federal government, you have a contract with that specific LLC. And so we have federal site offices that are co-located around the country that are on that map, and their purpose is to help manage that contract. So we get involved with subcontracting plans and other goals that are as high as 60% in some cases, to make sure that they're meeting their various goals. The subcontracting goals we have are the ones that are in the Small Business Act, which would be woman-owned small business, which the business has to be owned, controlled, and managed by a woman. That's not always the case, but that's what the law is. Small disadvantaged businesses, which includes 8A contractors. Those are both a 5% statutory goal. That means statutory, so across the federal government, all federal agencies have those goals. The service-disabled veteran is a 3% goal, and Hub Zone is a 3% goal as well. So these are in the Small Business Act, that you can look those up and find them. But those are federal rights, so it's not just Department of Energy goals. We can move to the next one. Okay, so this small slide, the beauty of it is that there's a URL at the bottom, so you can find these folks. So we have our major contractors listed here. It's really small to see. What's important for you to note, you'll notice the name of the contractor. There's a contract number you can do research on, the name of the contractor, and on the far right, you have people, and you have phone numbers, and you have emails that you can call to contact them about some of the contract opportunities, either subcontractors opportunities they have, or mentor protege as well. So those are folks you can call directly to find out about those opportunities. Go to the next, flip to the next period floor. Excuse me. Keep going. All right. Best kept secret government contracting or power marketing administrations. Has anyone heard of those before or worked with them? A couple? Okay, good deal. So these were developed in the 1930s to bring electric power to the United States. Primarily hydro projects that were developed in the 20s and 30s. They were federal dollars were used to build those projects, and now These organizations transmit and distribute power from those power projects through the Con Edisons and some of the utilities. You may actually be utilizing some power generated by one of these power marketing administrations and not realize it. So there's 4 of these that are geographically developed. Bonneville Power Association, BPA, is in Idaho, Washington State, etc. WAPA, Western Area Power Association. Bonneville is based in Portland, Oregon, and WAPA in Golden, Colorado, right outside of Denver. SWAPA, Southwestern Power Administration, is based in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and SEPA is in Georgia. And so the reason why I call these the best kept secret in government contracting is that they consistently will have at least 70% of their spend will be small business set-asides. In some years, in the last couple of years, some of these organizations have been high as 90-95% of their spend have been with small businesses. So they buy everything from cables, construction, IT, etc. So those are great people to be able to work with, and they're very small business friendly, which makes my job pretty easy. I don't have to spend a whole lot of time. What are you not setting aside for small business? We can go to the next one as well. Okay, how we define our mission here. And this is why my office, this is what we do and focus on every day, is helping the Department of Energy sustain our mission by helping building sustainable small businesses. Sustainable means it's very important to have as many contract opportunities we have, but also we focus and go back our programs. Are we paying people? It's one thing to have a contract, it's another thing to get paid. How often are you getting paid? How quickly are you getting paid? So those are numbers and data that we track within the department to make sure that not only do you have a contract, you're actually getting paid on time. And particularly if we have challenges with sometimes of our large contractors, what are their acquisition strategies? Are they being fair to you? Are they friendly to small business? When we have awards that go out, one of our major M&O contractors, one of the evaluation factors, the third one was, what is your small business plan? And not only just to plan a number, but how are you going to incorporate small businesses into meeting the mission of the site? You know, maybe $1 billion spend, so you recognize it can't be a small business set aside, but what aspects of the mission are going to be small business? So, you know, it can be everything from, you know, some of the janitorial, landscaping, etc. Those are great, but what about the research and, what about the R&D? What about the IT? What about the cybersecurity? So we want to make sure that we understand that there's a whole range of small businesses and a variety of NAICS codes that everyone plays in. So we want to make sure that when folks focus on mission, they don't use that as a way to not include small businesses. So that's a question that we're asking. We put that right up in the RFP requirements. The large companies know that, hey, this is going to be one of the factors that you're going to be based on is how are you going to use small businesses to execute the mission for us at this site. So these are things that we're doing specifically, making small business made easier. A lot of what we do in terms of vendor outreach is really trying to recruit small businesses to meet the mission of the department. So we'll include our contracting staff when we have our we have an annual small business conference every year, and the sites have their own outreach sessions as well, making sure that we're understanding what their missions are and that we're actually recruiting small businesses. So we'll go out to FPDS. So a lot of discussions we have internally would be, can something be set aside for small business or not? So we will go out to FPDS and look for the last 3 to 5 years and find out, are there companies operating in this space? And if we find contracts are being led by either by our agency or other agencies, if we see enough of them, say, hey, this can be a small business set aside. So those are the kind of things that we're doing and making sure that the contract office is on board with doing that as well. Go to the next one here. Here's our scorecard. We got the A last year. You can just blow through that. Okay, so what do we buy? So FY15, these are just the top 10 of things that we bought in FY15. Remediation services, again related to the environmental management, the cleanup part of the mission. My favorite NAICS code, 541611. Whenever I see that NAICS code, by the way, I've kind of told people, particular programs, I'm like, what is that? And so when I see that it's full and open, I told them, when I see this, I sort of really think it's small business here, depending on what they have. Administrative management and general management services, facility support services. We have a lot of facilities and sites here locally and around the country that are small business set aside. Engineering services, computer and IT data processing, you'll see a lot of those kind of jumbled together. That's what's 15. And we can go along. Okay, 16 is kind of similar. They're switched up. You're going to see the same groups of services. Maybe this little bit of order from year over year, just depending upon what's being bought in that year. So this is the top 10. Now these are from a subcontracting standpoint. We took a slice and looked at of our subcontracting spend, several billions of dollars. We took a look at about $850 to $1 billion and said, hey, what are we spending kind of the top 10? So this is $420 million of that. And so, go back?
No, okay.
Yep. And so that's just kind of what we're spending at our sites and labs around the country. We kind of want to take a slice of that. And we're doing much more of a deep dive in those areas as well. All right, keep going. Okay, discriminating factors. So these are things I think would really, that you could do to help at OSMU offices, and since we're talking about energy specifically, our office of staff to help advocate for you. So the first one is FPDS&G. How many folks use FPDS right now? You guys use it all? Does anyone know what it is? Familiar with it? Okay, FPDS&G for Federal Procurement Data System Next Generation is an online repository of all of the federal government's prime contract spends for the last 15 to 20 years. So the federal government spends about $500 million so a year in prime contracts. So this is a repository of that. So that's useful to you for a couple reasons. Number one, you need to find which agencies buy what you sell. It's kind of like the first question, right? Who's buying what I sell? And then it's where are they buying it? How are they buying it? Is it off a GSA schedule? Is it a fixed cost contract? Do they buy it? Are they 5-year contracts? Is it a 2-year base with like an option for a couple of years? Cost plus reimbursable contract. All those things you need to know about that. And also you find out who currently has that contract. Who's the competition? When's it going to expire? If they are performing well, 9 chances out of 10, and the option expires, the agency is going to renew the option. But you need to kind of get a sense of who's the competition, where they're buying it. And depending upon where you're located in the country, is it in a certain area of the country that's better for you? Can you support a contract that's 500 or 1,000 miles away? Those are questions that you need to kind of answer. FPDS will tell you how to do that. So the Department of Energy's, our agency code is 8900. Every agency, you can look it up when you go on, has a code. So for us, you can put it in there. You put in your NAICS codes, and one of the top 3 or 4 NAICS codes, what do you do really well? And you'll find out, at least in energy and across the federal government, who has these contracts. It's going to give you a list of kind of current contracts. So since most contracts can be 3 to 5 years, I suggest doing a search back for the last 3 years or so. Because then you can find out who the current contracts are, the total contract value, how much they're obligating, and when they expire. And that's a way for you to do some research. Hey, you need to contact that agency if this is something that you're interested in. So when you're talking to various federal agencies, they answer the first question, is it worth you talking to the agency? Do they really buy what you're selling or not? So it's a great way for you to identify that information. There's a cottage industry on how to use FPDS. I'll leave it to your own thoughts about buying this type of, from buying FPDS access from various services small and large companies sell that. You can research that on your own, but that's going to be number one first tool to use. FFRDCs, those are federally funded research and development centers. These are the national labs that do big research and development. These are large organizations. These are meant to be in the far long-term, 10-year plus contracts because they're doing research and development. And by its very nature, research and development is kind of a open-ended thing. I'm not delivering a certain commodity or good service at a certain time. So the Department of Energy, there's 17 that we have. There's many more around the federal government, but it's important to understand the purpose of the Department of Energy because we have more of a concentration than any other agency uses. We have 17 of them. Point number 3, does anyone recall the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2014? Got a couple people, okay. You may say, why would I know that? Well, you may not want to know that, and if you did know that, like, wow, get a lot of spare time. But this is important for us, the Department of Energy, because for our M&O contractors, for the first time since 2000, we can get prime small business credit for those awards. So heretofore, if Oak Ridge National Lab makes an award to you as a small business, it's a subcontract. Now if they make that award to you, you still have a subcontract, but from our standpoint, we could count that on our scorecard that you just saw earlier as a private achievement. So that's an important motivation for us. That's why I bring that up. You need to understand how the agency is motivated. And then also skipping down to number 6, data.gov, why that's important, is heretofore this information about what we buy has never been available publicly on a contract by contract basis. So what does Oak Ridge buy every year? What does Sandia National Lab buy every year? What does Argonne in Chicago buy? Now you can go to data.gov and you can get roughly 59 fields of data, everything from the name of the business, the DUNS number, the NAICS code, product service code, how much they were actually awarded that year, name, address, etc. You can find out the type of small business. Was a small business? Was it an 8A? Was it A and C? Etc. All that kind of information is available, which is again is a market research tool for you to research some of these sites. Is it worth me marketing there, or who might I market to at the Department of Energy? So FY15 was the first year that was available, because the first year we could start taking credit for this. And going forward, that's going to be, that data will be out there. And so again, that's a good, useful tool to figure out, is it worth me looking at one of these sites, approaching one of these sites. Legislative changes, the NDAA. No matter what happens in Congress, every year there will be a National Defense Authorization Act. Because neither party in Congress wants to be in a position to say that they blocked something for DOD. Who's going to be speaking right after me here. And so since that passes every year, a significant amount of small business legislation and changes are included in the NDAA. So that may be something that you can make reference to. You can read the whole act if you like, at least from a small business perspective. What are the legislative changes, be it subcontracting, minor protege changes, etc., that are going to be impacted in the NDAA. And all this is very good information, because some federal offices may know this and some may not. But the more ammunition you have will set you apart from the competition. Because the legislative changes gives us the authority to enable us to do certain things. And so don't count on the federal agency knowing that. Particularly if you already have a contract, you're getting one, the CO behind the desk, it's their job to know that. So from a knowledge standpoint, if you're negotiating with them, you've got to know what the latest legislative and legal changes are. Because they're not going to tell you that. They're negotiating. They've got their interests, but you have your interests at heart, so you need to be able to gather that information. Next one is the good old IG reports. So that's a great trove of business opportunities for you. Every federal agency has an IG. They have their own website, and they list management reports. So an RIG will list management challenges to the Secretary of Energy. So it's important for you to know that, because the IG is pointing out, here's management challenges. The Secretary is going to have to address those challenges, and the agency will. So that means they instantly become a priority to the agency. And so does that fit in your wheelhouse or what you do? You need to read those and kind of figure out, that could be a great opportunity for you. Because the IGs are public, those reports can end up in the Washington Post. The Hale team will call us for hearings to testify about what we're doing to resolve these challenges. Why is this a challenge, and what are you going to do about it? And so those are a very important marketing tool for you. And that's one way. The second way is when they actually do research, have an investigation, that becomes an instant priority. No matter what else I'm doing, if there's something related to the small business program that ends up in the IG report, that becomes my #1 priority. I may not have, I probably won't have a contract for it, or even a solution, but again, that's a great opportunity for you as a small business owner. The Department of Energy's got a challenge now. They need to solve it because it's an IG report. But again, we can be held accountable by the Hill that gives us our budget every year. OMB is going to be all over it. And we don't want it to be out in the paper someplace and have the, Bloomberg News and other folks calling us up. Hey, what are you guys going to do about this? So that challenge to us becomes an opportunity for you guys. So really look at those for agencies that you have an interest in, particularly if you're in the IT area. Automation and systems can always be a part of any solution, even if it's not directly an IT program. That can be anywhere part. Data analytics, data mining, can also be part of that. I know Carol and I were talking earlier at the table, that could potentially can be part of whatever problem, the solution, whatever problem the agency's going to have. So we all get them, they're out there all the time. Clearly, the biggest ones make the news and the talk shows, but the reports are issued constantly. And it's always nice when they're not focused at you, but when they are, we've had them, they become a priority for the secretary who our report to says, hey, so what are you going to do? Or why is this a problem? So that becomes a priority. Rules of engagement. So we have on the far right a directory of small business program managers. There's about 90 to 100 small business program managers that I work with that are located geographically throughout the country, as well as for every national lab and every program office. So we work with them to work with you to help you gain access to people, understand what are they buying, how are they buying it, what's their mission, what's their challenge. They update our forecast on a regular basis. It's out on our website as well. I brought a couple here, I just printed them out, but it's an Excel spreadsheet. I can barely read this and I have glasses, so I didn't pass these out. But you can download this in Excel. You can search by NAICS code. You can search by state location. And on the far right, the beautiful information is phone numbers and emails of like who to contact about those. So we work closely with these folks, and when you contact us, we'll be referring you to them. And if you don't get any response, if you're not responsive, let us know. That's their job. We'll work with you to get meetings, to get access to them. Go for the next one. Here's our website. Information about how to do business with the Department of Energy. Subscribe to the Osgo News on the far right. So we have again, focus on the outreach events, like how do I meet the Department of Energy, and what are the procurement opportunities that are coming up. We update the forecast, we send it out. When there's big procurements that are coming out, big dollar ones, or big or small business set aside, we'll send special notes out about those as well. But that's important to keep up what's going on with the Department of Energy. All right, so there's some flyers going around. We've got a website here for Kansas City. We were in Atlanta, Georgia, had about 1,000 people down there with the whole department there, the secretary. As you can see from the map, it's not the easiest place to market to, given how geographically dispersed we are. But we will all be in Kansas City May 16th to 18th, so come out and see us. There's our website, and give us a call. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.